Hey, so this is Pramit. This is how. So hello everybody. If you need to ask me anything, have any comments or anything to say at all, right? Feel free to type in the chat box. And Ayush, can we disable annotations, please?
So you can disable the annotation from your side.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so guys, I think we should start. It's about time. So first up, let me introduce myself. This is Pramit. I have been a software professional for more than 11 years now. The first more than 10 years I was with Microsoft, where I worked with the Windows team, specifically in Windows networking. Then I also worked in the Azure team, Visual Studio team, and the Microsoft CRM team. After that, for more than a year now, I'm with Amazon. I'm a software architect in the Amazon FinTech team, so financial technology. That was about me. Professionally, I am a software engineer, but by passion, I'm a mentor. I have mentored quite a few students, and maybe some of you might have attended some of my previous sessions. If that's the case, then welcome again. So definitely. So, and I'm intending to start this new series of session called Saturday Night Gyan. And the reason for that is that I observed that Indian students, they don't get good mentorship. They sometimes get good teachers. They sometimes get good internships, good professors, but what they don't get is good mentorship. So nobody teaches them the skills that they need in life. And some of the big problems that they face, we will discuss today. What's lacking? How can we get it corrected? Right? So we will discuss. But the whole aim of this session is to see how can we make our student community much more effective. How can we mentor them so that they are very well prepared to go into the industry to have a great career ahead. Right? So with that aim, we're starting this whole series. We will be meeting almost every Saturday, right? So that I can guide you and as many students as possible to have a great career ahead, right? So with that, I want to define a mission for myself, for all of us. How can we be the most productive student community in the world, right? And the intent will also be for all of us to give back to the community, right? So it's not going to be a short term thing. We want to keep analyzing the problems. We want to keep helping the student community to solve the problems, right? Because the problems are very deep rooted and they can't be solved in one session or even a year, right? So you'll see what I mean by that. What are the problems that I'm talking about, right? So with that, I will be having a lot of sessions. I'll be having 4 types of sessions that I have thought about, right? One session, one type will be to help students plan their career and life, right? So today there is minimal planning going into a career of an Indian student, which is a really sorry state. We don't plan our careers. We'll see all the problems. In fact, that's the whole agenda of today's meeting. We will discuss dedicatedly the problems that we as Indian students get ourselves into, right? Because we don't plan our careers. The second category of sessions that we will be having is to talk about essential skills that you definitely need in your life. To take an example, many of us are focused towards programming, many of us are focused towards marketing, sales, whatever, right? But are we focusing on the essential life skills? How can we be good leaders? How can we have good communication skills? How can we articulate our ideas better? How can we sell our ideas better? Do we have enough financial knowledge to plan our knowledge, plan our life? Are we simply being greedy enough to simply go work for anybody who offers us enough money? Because that's what we do. That's what I did when I was a student 12 odd years back, right? So these are deep problems. So the second category of sessions that we will have will focus on what are these essential skills, like our personality. There are many students who are very good students, who are very good coders possibly, who do very well in academics, but they don't pay attention to their personality. And what results is they can't sell their ideas, they can't sell their work, they can't communicate in an articulate way, right? So that is a very deep-rooted problem in Indian students community, especially probably because of our generation X, of our parents' generation, right? Because they had a different values. They are coming from a government red tapeism being very prevalent, government jobs being very popular. So there is that background, right? So we'll have another set of sessions dedicated to that. What are the essential skills that you need definitely in life that you may or may not be paying attention to? So the third type of sessions that we will have in this series is for you to know about industry. If I ask you, right, all of you, and respond to me in chat, how many of you know what CRM is? Customer relationship management. What CRM softwares are? How many of you know? Can you please respond in chat? Okay. Vijay is saying he doesn't. Tarun is saying no idea. Right? Customer relationship management. Okay. Vaibhav is saying no, doesn't know. Sabbar is saying doesn't know. Right? So what we are, see, the problem is this, that we are in a mode, and we will discuss this in more detail today, but we are in a mode where we don't know what all is going on around us. But if you go to ask the same question to American students, to European students, every single of them would know what a CRM software is, what are developer tools, what are open source tools, what are marketing tools, right? Marketing tools, I'm guessing digital marketing and all is getting a little bit popular. So some of you might be knowing, which is good. But what are all the developer tools, right? How do you use GitHub or Bitbucket or whatever you use, VS, Visual Studio Team Services, right? As a developer, how do you use it? What are collaboration tools? Slack or Microsoft Teams. Because of this COVID, Microsoft Teams has become a tad popular. But were we aware of all this software that people are using in business professionally? Most of us aren't, and that's a big problem, because that indicates towards a symptom where, yeah, the Shaunak is some of us know, which is good, right? So the intent is not me talking about CRM. The symptom is that we don't know about the businesses going around us, and of which businesses we are going to be a part. Like banking, what all are the different banking softwares? What all are the popular banking softwares, or marketing softwares, right? Or insurance, banking, any sector that you can imagine. We don't know about any business. That's the problem, and that's a big problem. And my belief is that any Indian student, as part of their career planning, should amply know about the businesses that are prevalent, right? If unless we are just planning to be servants, we should know about the businesses before we choose to go into it. Like consultancy, many of you will go into consultancy, right? Some of you into banking, some of you into marketing, some of you into software development. But do you actually know what is going on in there today? Most of us don't, and that's a big problem, right? So you should know before you go into it, before you plan to go into it. So another type of sessions will be dedicated to give the students a knowledge about what the different domains are, what are the different types of softwares, what are the different types of roles, right? So that they can plan their career much better than randomly sitting for any placement and simply joining any company who's offering them any amount of money. That's not how you should plan your career, right? And the fourth type of session that we will be doing will be very technical, because I am from a technical background. I will try to, Vaibhav is saying something here, we can start up, but how can we make it a global? Okay, that's a good question. See, he has a perspective that he can start up, but how does he scale up is a question. Good question. So right now in this session, my intent is not to answer that specific question. We'll get to that. So today's agenda, right? I'll come to the next slide. In fact, is that what is today's topic of discussion, right? And I want all of you to be very involved, because it's not like me just giving you GAN. I want to solve problems that you guys can empathize with, right? So coming back to where we left, the fourth type of session that we will have is going to be technical session. Like if you are interested in coding, how should you code? If you are interested in knowing about specific domains, like especially the ones that I'm very passionate about, algorithms, graph theory, graph algorithms, optimization problems, networks, computer networking, and architecture, right? Computer architecture, all of these subjects. So if you, I will try as much as I can to guide students around these deep technical topics. So that will be the fourth type of sessions that we will have in this series of sessions. So I'm looking forward to all of you attending these sessions. We'll make it really informal. The only intent is to help you guys to be able to plan for your career and to have the best career possible, right? May I request everybody to mute their mics, please? Sure. So today's discussion is basically this. What are Indian students doing very, very wrong? Very wrong. And let me be very frank, when I was a student myself, I committed most of these mistakes. And all of us commit these mistakes. And with very good reasons. It's not like we are consciously committing these mistakes, but we are more or less committing these very big mistakes. And because of which you can clearly see, Indian students are not world leaders. We are not leading the world in many things. Some of them are, but mostly students who migrate outside, who go to, let's say, the United States or Europe, right? So they get that perspective and undo their mistakes. And many of us who are fortunately working with a lot of multinationals, we get that international visibility. because of which we slowly come out of our mistakes. But nonetheless, at a student level, at your level, I believe most of you are students in different colleges, right? We are committing these mistakes, very big mistakes. So let's get started then. Any thoughts, comments until now? Feel free to chat in the chat box and I'll be happy to respond. Okay? Okay. So with that, right? Before we get started, can I ask all of you a question? And I want all of you to type it in their chat box. So don't feel shy at all. This is your session. This is to help you to have the best career possible, to have a fearless, very fulfilling career, right? That's the only objective. The objective is not for me to speak a lot of things. The objective is not for me to host a lot of sessions, right? Because like I said, one target that I have set for myself is to help a lot of students do something great. I don't know what they are going to do. It's on them. But I want to help them do something great so that we as a student community come out of our shackles and do something great, right? As opposed to simply mindlessly going into our placement interviews, asking for whoever to give us any random job, and whoever gives us any salary, we would join their companies and do something, do whatever they ask us to. I want us as a student community to get out of that mode, to go into a mode where we plan, we discover ourselves, what are we good at, what do we really want to do. It's not that you want to be profitable immediately. You should not think yourself as, somebody who will do anything for anybody who's just able to offer you a big amount of money. That should not be your goal, right? So with that, may I ask you a question? What do you want to do in your life? Before we begin, I think that is important for all of us to answer. And don't be shy. I don't know you, so there is no reason for you to be shy at all. Feel free. If any of you want to be a police officer, IAS, dancer, artist, architect, engineer, president of India, whatever, right? I don't mind. What do you see yourself doing in your career? Right? And respond publicly. It's okay. Nobody possibly knows anybody else. So in fact, say that publicly to your friends also. Okay? Let me start by typing myself. I want to be mentor to thousands of students. And help them realize their potential. So despite of me being a software engineer, I have been mentoring students for 1.5 years now. I've mentored thousands of students, and this is truly one of my calling. So can all of us take a minute to write whatever we think we really want to do? We are passionate about it, right? Let's write that. Awesome. Somebody is saying to me privately, IAS, but feel free to say it publicly also. Dhyutimay is saying, hey Dhyuti, welcome back. He's saying politics, good that you know that you want to do something different from what you are studying. So this is a symptom. See, you want to go to X, but you are already studying Y. That's a problem. That is one big problem that we're going to discuss today also. Akshay is saying, start my own venture. Very good. Aditi, Saurav is saying teacher. Very good. Probably same as me. Good. Aditi is saying IES. Good. Shanak is saying mechanical engineer. Very, very good. One of my friends, in fact, was very passionate mechanical engineer. He is now leading there is this Forum of International Engineer, right? Something called IEMS or something like that. Just like in IT, we have we have IAS or IEEE, right? They have something called IEM or something like that, Institute of Mechanical Engineers. So he is the head of that, in fact, right now. He's working on self-driving cars in the US. But I totally appreciate whoever knows what they really want to be, right? Civil servant aspirant, very good. Supriya. Samarth is saying UX UI designer. Okay, okay, awesome. Lakshmipati is saying a scientist to do significant contribution in mitigating climate change. Awesome. I think Lakshmipati very good goal, right? So at least I'm getting some ideas, and it is very important to identify what you want to be, and you know what, also be open to change that. If you discover something about yourself in your life, because I myself didn't know that I wanted to teach students until very late, right? After I was probably 35 years old is when I discovered that I really wanted to teach students. I'm good at selflessly giving my ideas, my education, my knowledge to others, right? And that's what motivated me to mentor others, right? So keep discovering yourself. It's very important. Keep you open to changing, right? And be very passionate about it. Don't do X because others, anybody, whoever that might be, says you to do X. If you've decided, pursue that through failures and successes. Okay? Awesome. Sure. So Shaunak, I will let me reach out to him. I'm not in touch with him for many years now, but I might try. But thanks for the request. Okay, good. So now that most of us have thought about what we want to do in our career, it may not be the final decision. Let's be frank, right? So think about it this way. That don't, in fact, that's one of the mistakes that we are going to discuss today, but I'm telling you upfront, don't target small. Jeff Bezos, who's the CEO of Amazon, right? He says dreaming small or targeting small is a self-fulfilling prophecy. I mean, it's very easy to target small. Don't target small. Target something that should impact the lives of at least thousands of people, right? Right? So don't target small. It's very important. Okay? So let's look at the typical Indian student's life. Before we go and try to identify the problems, let's spend 5 minutes looking at our own career. This is all of us, right? This is all of us follow or are going to follow this trajectory. Let's look at it. And I'm telling you, this is absurd. This is really nonsensical. Let's look at it. We study a common syllabus. All of us study a common syllabus for 12 years, right? The same subjects for 12 years, a very long time. Compare that with anybody like Mozart or Stephen Hawking or Albert Einstein, or for that matter, any passionate person that you can think of, really passionate person, right? You compare it with their careers, you will see there is a difference. They don't randomly study something for 12 years without having any objective, so, right? But we studied a common syllabus for, I'm muting some of them who are unmuting, but if you have any question, feel free to either speak up or type on the chat box. Okay, so Pallavi, you are unmuted, so I'm muting you. But if you have a question, feel free to, thanks for muting yourself, but feel free to ask up if you have any question. Okay, I'm muting you just to make sure that there is no disturbance. Then what we do, we give an entrance exam, multiple entrance exams, right, for multiple colleges. Then what we do, we get a random seat in a random college. Like whichever college gives us seat, we just go and get admitted. And most of us don't even think about any other streams. Are we passionate about, are we good at dramatics? Are we good at art? Many of you, I'm sure, are very good at art, some sort of creativity, right? You're very creative at expressing yourself, or maybe you could make a really good salesperson or marketing person because you are very good at convincing others, right? But you will not do that. Maybe you'll do that 10 years down the line, but you will not do that immediately just because you've enrolled into an engineering college, right? So see, observe the pattern here, that we give a random entrance exam, we get, we, whoever offers us a seat, we go into it, right? And observe the pattern with people who are very passionate, like let's take the example of Bill Gates or Mike or Zuckerberg, right? So they they were in the best colleges, one of the best colleges, but they dropped out because they were passionate about something, and that was much more important than completing their degree in a very good college, right? So, and we don't do that, frankly. We are fortunate to just go into a good college. That's because we don't have that vision. If we had that vision, then we would have the courage to drop out. So the symptom that we don't have the courage is because we don't have the vision. That's again one of the problems that we will discuss today. Then what we do once we go into any college, we study the same syllabus for 3 to 5 years, right? Some syllabus are 3 years, like bachelors of art. Some syllabus are 5 years, 4 to 5 years. So we study that. Then what we do? Then we sit for placements. And what happens there? Lot of rich guys come and they interview us, and whatever they offer, if we get selected, we go join the company who pays us the most. And that's what I did, by the way. I'm not trying to bail out here. The same symptom, right? And that's a deep trouble for us as a community, because we shouldn't do that. We should, irrespective of pay, we should do what we want to do in life, right? And how do we do that? So we need to be mentally prepared. We need to have a plan, right? So we are not going to discuss that plan. We will discuss that in great detail in subsequent session. But we need to identify the problem today. We need to recognize that it is a problem that all of us are suffering from before we plan and discuss the solution, right? So we join any company who pays us the most. It's a big problem. Even if I don't want to do coding, if somebody offers me a big sum of money, I'll go join and code for many years. And that's true for many of us, like lakhs and lakhs of us in India. Deep problem, right? So do you think that even if that person had joined, let's say Bal Thackeray, right? If Bal Thackeray had joined TCS at 22 years of age and done coding for 10 years, would he ever have become the leader that he became? I don't know how many of you know Bal Thackeray. Very passionate guy. He has his own philosophies. I'm not here to debate about whether his philosophies are right or wrong. But very passionate person, right? Same for Atal Bihari Vajpayee, same for Narendra Modi, right? Intently follow what you believe in. I'm not trying to prove or disprove whether they are right or wrong, right? But you can tell that they have been at it for 30, 40, 50 years. As opposed to if you just join a random placement, do you know what you will end up doing? You will simply be in the mode of looking out for anybody who will be paying you more, and you will be willing to do anything that they want you to do. It's a complete servant mentality. We shouldn't be doing that, right? And then what we do? Shaunak is asking me a question. I'll come to your question, Shaunak. Give me maybe a couple of minutes. I'll just walk you through the next remaining steps here, and then I'll come to your question. Okay. So, and then what we do? We grow in that career. Let's take an example of random X. Let's call him Ravi. Ravi joins TCS. he works in TCS for 10 years. He grows in his career in TCS. He becomes a good senior software engineer. He becomes a manager. He becomes a senior manager, right? He grows in his career. But was that he chose as his career? Was he really passionate about that? Right? He doesn't answer that question. Even after spending 10 years, he doesn't answer that question. And that's a big problem, right? And then, after spending many years, like 20, 30 years, we retire. And a quality of passionate people, they never retire. Because they are doing what they love, they never retire. Look at Albert Einstein. He was thinking about the relativity problem, right? General theory of relativity until the very end of his life. Even until the day before, one day before that he died. He was still taking notes. For that matter, if you want to think about M.F. Hussain, right? Until the very end, he was painting. He loved painting so much. Because if you love something, doing something like really right, you will never retire. There is no question of anybody retiring, right? Okay. So, Shaunak, do you mind if I repeat your question to everybody? Okay. So Shaunak is asking, how can we be financially secured before doing something that we truly, very brilliant question. Shaunak, very brilliant question. One of the problems we will cover today also. Okay. And we will have a subsequent session where Shaunak, where we will completely discuss this only. But one of the problems that we will discuss is exactly this, right? So now we want to discuss what are things that are wrong. We have already discussed a few, but we want to discuss a little bit more. But at this point of time, any thoughts, any questions, feel free to type it in, guys. I'll wait for maybe 5 to 10 seconds. If you have any questions, thoughts until what we have discussed till now, let's chime that in. So I'm muting whoever is unmuted, but if you have a question, feel free to ask that. Okay, Shaunak is saying we follow the traits of someone who has been successful with that particular approach. Very, very good. Very, very good observation. And that is also important. In fact, we will talk about that in our next session probably. So that's about peers and mentors, right? So how important are mentors in life? In fact, most of the mediocre students like us who don't plan for life, we don't have good mentors. In fact, the most successful students have the best mentors. And my sincere belief is that who are the best students? The best students are the ones who have the best teachers. Like the Pandavas are Pandavas, I believe, for that matter, the Kauravas also, right? They were really good, the best of their times, according to mythology. I'm not trying to prove they existed or not, but according to mythology, the Pandavas were the best, or the Pandavas and Kauravas were the best at their skills because their teacher was Dronacharya, who was the best teacher, right? Similarly, let's take another example. Lot of us, a few of you might have gone to Kota, right? And why are lot of good students churned out of Kota? Because of really good quality teachers. Another example, do you know which country does the best in maths Olympiads, in international maths Olympiads? Russia. And they are not, they are also human beings. What is different? The difference is that they have the best Olympiads trainers. Because subjects like maths, right? Apart from aptitude, what is very important is how your teacher is. The Russians are the best, have won the most number of gold medals in international maths Olympiads because they have the best training culture. I mean, very good teachers, very good mathematicians teach their students and prepare them for Olympiads. Right? That's why they are the best. Similarly, if you look at, second is America, by the way, in international maths Olympiads. And why are they? And in America's team, most of the participants are either of Indian origin or Chinese origin. So India, from Indians, we don't have a very good position in international maths Olympiads. Probably ranking around, I don't know, definitely below 10. But Americans, Indians representing Americans do very well, specifically because of that, because they have a very good training culture. They train, the best minds come to train. In India, I mean, if I were to ask you, even in IITs, from my personal experience, I'm telling you, we don't have really world-class teachers, the teachers that we deserve. And how many of you agree with me? Like the teachers from the very beginning, right, school level to college, how many of you agree that we deserve better teachers, more qualified teachers? If you agree, tell me yes in the chat. Okay, Chinmay is raising his hand. Thank you. Diti is saying, Priyanka is saying, Shabbar, right? Aditi is saying yes. So all of us agree, right? And what's the problem? Sanket is saying, thank you. Shabbar is saying, right? Asus is saying, Asus, whatever your name is. Vaibhav is saying. So, see, and we do have many good teachers, by the way. It's not like we don't have good teachers. But the problem is this, like as a society, we don't respect our teachers enough. What is meant by that? Do we, Saurav is saying many of them are not interested in teaching, right? Very right. But why? I mean, it's not, we can't simply complain, right, without figuring out why or coming out with a solution, right? The reason is we don't respect our teachers enough. In US, you know who becomes teachers? The PhDs, the best minds from Harvard's, from Princeton's, from Stanford's, right? They become teachers. They are really well paid. Many of my friends are teachers there, professors. In fact, many of my friends have become professors in IITs as well, and I'm very glad they did, because they were really good students. I know that they will become good teachers, right? But many of the teachers are still not well qualified because we don't, in Indians, teachers are not well paid. That's a very sorry state, right? Many of our teachers are not well paid. That means what does that mean? We don't respect them enough. So who will become? Will them really well qualified teachers, people become teachers? No, right? Anuj is saying only few teachers are good and they leave a market. Very correct, right? Totally agree with you, Anuj, on that one. Only few teachers are good. Only teachers who are really passionate despite not getting a good pay are the ones who we see becoming good teachers. But the good thing is that some of them open their own private teaching, right? And they make good money. And I'm very glad that they do, because they deserve that respect. They deserve that pay, right? Asus is saying, not giving credit to teachers the way we give credit to the top class students. Right, right. So sometimes we don't also give credit to the teachers, as in, and the way I'm interpreting to this is, we have a lot of awards or honors for a lot of other jobs. But for teachers, we don't have a lot of such promotions in our society, right? So that's the way I'm interpreting Asus, but let me know if you have a slightly different interpretation. Samarth is saying me, they don't try to understand the students, and the ones who try to understand are put down by their colleagues. Very well put, Samarth. So our teachers don't try to understand the students. They don't have the goal to make the students the best students, right? Suchismita is saying, with all due respect, I differ here. I think it's more of the teaching procedure than the teacher individually. I hear you, Suchismita, but what I believe, right, from my experience also, is that if a teacher, right, wants to give knowledge, really give knowledge, he will figure out a way. And I'll tell a little bit about that towards the very end. The last slide, I'll tell you what most of the teachers are doing wrong. But feel free to differ with me. Feel free to disagree, not a problem. Right, even there. Aditi is saying, no doubt, they are well qualified, but most of them are not good at the art of teaching. Very good, Aditi. So, in fact, we are not going to teachers right now in today's session, but maybe we will. So, researchers or well qualified people and teachers, they should be separate. They should not try to overload. And I totally agree with you that researchers should be different, and only those researchers, only those highly qualified people who believe that they can share their knowledge very well, they should become teachers. The other highly qualified people, researchers, right, they should not become teachers if they feel that they're not good at sharing their knowledge, right? Shaunak is saying, in India, teachers are that part of the curve, students, that was discussed just a minute, where they have grown in their career and they are trying to enjoy life. Okay. Okay, interesting take. Okay. Ayush is saying, sir, nowadays I believe most teachers in the market are not ready to share their knowledge, which is their agreed, right? So because probably there is not enough impetus, there is not enough prerogative, not enough awards that's there for them to share their knowledge, right? So let's now go and discuss a little bit about what I think are wrong with our approach, right? First, we don't get to decide what we study. This has to do with our society, right? We simply, based on our marks, we are awarded science, arts, commerce, or even engineering, medical, right? Based on our marks. That is wrong with our society. We should strictly go into what we like to do, irrespective of our marks, right? If I want to become an architect, an artist, an actor, I should be allowed to do that, irrespective of whether I'm good at math, science, English or not, right? Supriya, I'll come to your comment. Let me just focus on some of the points. Let's cover some of the points. Let's have a discussion. Then I'll again come back to the chat box. Is that okay? Okay. So let's see, right? So it's a problem but we need to pay attention to this. We need to be very conscious about that, right? That if I want to learn something, now obviously if I, let's say, want to learn dramatics, let's say one of you wants to learn dramatics, but unfortunately they have gone into engineering colleges. So should you quit dramatics? No. Then you have to be more steadfast. You have to be more disciplined, right? Don't abort your dreams. Keep it on. Even after you have studied engineering, keep it on. Don't quit, right? You have to figure out a way. Once you know what to do, you have to figure out a way. Today or tomorrow, you have to figure out a way. You shouldn't be going in a diametrically opposite direction, right? The second problem with Indian students is a big problem, very big problem. Our courses teach us to study only for exams. Do you know what that means? That means that many of us are very good at answering questions. I'll give you a book, I'll ask you some question, you will, in 1 week, you will mug that whole book up, you will answer any question that I ask you. But if I ask you to do something on your own, if I ask you to write a question of your own, you can't do that. Let me take an example. So I'll take maybe an example of a mathematician. Okay. In fact, any mathematician. Let's take the example of Newton, right? So if Newton or even Einstein would have worked in this mode, if you give, I will study something, you will ask something out of that and I will answer very well. Would we have discovered anything new? Right? It's only because we need to ask what is not already given to us. You need to ask, why do I need to do my profit and loss statement calculation this way? Why do I need to study trust? Why do I need to build the bridge this way? Why do I need to study this theorem this way? What is it going to give me? You need to ask, like Albert Einstein himself said, right? You need to be curious. And our teaching system completely discourages us from becoming curious. So what I am telling you, and I will continuously tell you in all my sessions, to be curious. Don't adhere to your book. Question your book, in fact. I will give you very good examples. Think of it this way. We have all read physics. We have all read mechanics, electromagnetics, thermodynamics. How many of us have questioned that syllabus? Why are we reading mechanics? Why are we reading how is electricity converted to mechanical energy or mechanical energy converted to electronics? Why are we studying quantum mechanics? What's the point? Right? How am I going to use that? Right? So we don't question, we accept. Right? Another example. I'm assuming many of you are physics students. We simply are taught F is equal to ma. Force is equal to mass into acceleration, right? How many of you go and question that? No, I don't agree. You prove that force is equal to mass into acceleration. We were not taught to question that. Somebody tells me, there is a coil, you put a magnet and move the coil like that, and some sort of electricity will be generated from magnetic energy. We are never taught to go and try that out. I mean, you think about it, it's absurd. I will tell you, you will stand there, I will do something like this and that will happen. And I will ask you, you wrote that, you remember that, and just write it that in the copy. So have you guys heard of C.V. Raman? The first Indian to get Nobel Prize in Science. So he got a Nobel Prize in Physics in 1930 or 31, right? He was the only Nobel laureate, till now he's the only Nobel laureate to have got a Nobel Prize in Science from India, working in India. All the others, right, Hargobind Khurana and all the others, Chandrasekhar, they were not working in India, they were working abroad. But this guy, C.V. Raman, let me tell you his story, right? I know we may not be covering all the slides, but that's okay. That's not the point, right? The point is to make you convinced that you need to be original. You should not study for exams. You should not accept anything that anybody else says. You should question everything. He was working in a government. He was a government officer, civil services, because that time India was not independent. So he was working like an IRS, Indian Revenue Officer, but that time the name was different, right? So he was working in Calcutta. He was posted in Calcutta. So there was a very downtrodden, broken laboratory that he went to, physics laboratory. And in a few years, in a couple of years, he made that laboratory world class. And you know what he did? He just loved to experiment. He would go to that laboratory and just do all sorts of experiments. He did, like, he would question everything. Musical notes. We hear musics, right? We hear frequencies. Sa, re, ga, ma. There are different frequencies, right? He would go and do experiments on musical notes, random experiments. So we should promote that. You should do that from today, and it will be very difficult because we are simply taught to. Shaunak is giving a very good example, right? So he was exactly. So he was going in a cruise, and he got the Raman spectrum, right? He discovered the Raman spectrum. Why is the sky blue? And then he wondered about a lot of these things, right? So, but the point is this: the point is he was so original. Nobody taught him. He became original because he was original. Same for Einstein. So when Einstein got the Nobel Prize when he was 25, he discovered his. He proposed his theory of relativity when he was 25 or 26, right? But you know, when he started thinking about relativity when he was 16 years old, and you know what he would do? He would call it thought experiments, right? If I'm not wrong, he would call it thought experiments, but call it out in chat if I'm getting it wrong. Thought experiments, near. What did he call it? Thought? I'm forgetting. So what he would do is, at thought experiments, he would simply imagine. You know what? At age of 16, what he started to imagine? He just imagined that there is a light going, a ray of light, and he is sitting on top of it. What will the result be? Because you are able to see when light is coming and hitting you, right? And he would, if I'm sitting on that light itself, then nobody will be able to see me, or I will not be able to see anything, right? And if I travel faster than light, then I can see things in the past, right? We'll not go into detail, but the point here is this: don't be afraid to imagine, think random things. Don't study for exams always. Question everything. Question why, if I move that magnet inside that coil, will it actually generate electricity? And this is in fact the exact experiment that Nikola Tesla did, and on a really big scale. You actually generate electricity in a big way, right? So we need to. So thank you, Shaunak, for confirming that it's thought experiment, right? So this again, all of us do. The third problem. Our placements decide what we do in our career. I myself did this. I did not, when I was sitting for my placement, I did not have a good career objective. I was targeting for the highest paying companies. That's it, right? And we should not do that. And it's very difficult not to do, by the way. And I'm not saying you don't not to do that immediately. Maybe you don't have an option. Maybe you will have to go into a software career, into a marketing career, even if you are not really passionate about it. It's okay. But while you are, because our culture is like that, right? We have a system of placement where we have all the interviewers coming together and we invite all the students for the same event. Whoever we like, we pick them and start to pay them, right? That's the system. I'm not asking you to go against the system, go against the tide immediately. No, don't do that. But keep in your mind that just because I'm placed in this company, it's not like this is my fate. Or for that matter, if I'm not placed anywhere, doesn't mean that that's my fate, right? Just because a company is paying me 50 lakhs for a specific role, and maybe I'm good at that thing today, doesn't mean that I should be doing that for the whole of my life. I should be doing that where I can achieve my true potential, where I can do something really, really great. and I want each one of you to target something really big. In fact, that we will discuss that also after a few slides, right? Another very big problem, we don't define success for ourselves. In fact, I'll tell you what we define success as. Most of us, most of you, guaranteed, you define success to go into some company or get into some exam, right? Somebody said IAS, somebody said startup, somebody said a venture of my own, somebody said I'll go into software coding, right? These are not success metrics. These are not success metrics. Same with me when I was a student, I did not have a success metric. You should define success. I have two metrics, by the way. One metric that I want you to define. What do I want financially and as my influence? Like if let's say you need to decide what you want to do, exactly what you want to do in life. Somebody said teaching, I want to teach. That's a success metric. Because your success metric, right, should not be dependent on others. The moment your success metric is dependent on others, on somebody else giving me an employment, that means it's a wrong success metric. Your success metric should be defined in a way that you can achieve it yourself, right? Think about it. I'm not asking you to define it yourself today, right now. Go back, think about it. In fact, in my sessions, I will urge everybody to continuously think about it, because it's not an easy question, by the way. I have just to decide, because let me take my example. For the last many years, right, I have been thinking about my life. What do I really want to do with my life? I love, by the way, coding. I love software. But am I getting the impact? Who am I coding for? I'm doing something, I'm creating something that is primarily used by, let's say, somebody in US or Europe, right? When I was working, let's say, on Azure or Windows or Visual Studio, yes, some people in India do use it, but primarily the customers are in US or Europe, right? So what am I doing for my country, for my community? Not much, right? So that made me to think, what do I want to do? I want to teach, one of the things. I love art. By the way, I'm an artist, I'm a painter also, I'm a designer also. So I do that, right? So define success metric for yourself. Like I want to do something, a specific thing like teaching, or I want to do exactly this thing. That's your success. Another success metric is financial metric that somebody was talking about, right? A financial metric. Define that number. We will come to that. There is another slide for that also. Define that financial number. You know, most of you can't define that number, right? Because of this. Because Indian students are financially illiterate. Most of you don't have, not that it's not your mistake, but it's not taught to us. We are not taught how to be financially knowledgeable, right? That's why somebody said, how can I be financially secure before I do something, right? You can plan to be secure only if you are financially literate. Like how much money do you need to sustain yourself for 5 years? Most of you don't have that answer. And why don't you have an answer? Because you have not tried to live independently. You have not tried to live, because for most of us, right, our parents, our middle class parents, they didn't give us financial responsibilities. Instead, what they did was they hid the financial responsibilities. They always said to us, don't worry about the financials, we'll pay it, right? Now, but we didn't worry. We simply focused on our studying, on our education, which is good in a way. But the problem is we can't plan for our next phase of life, right? That's the reason we can't take risks. Because clearly, somebody asked me, right, how can you be financially secure before you go try something of yourself? But how can you be financially secure if you don't know how much you need? So one thing that I want all of you to do is to go back and actually ask your parents, ask your friends, ask your teachers, and do this calculation yourself. If I am not employed at all, let's say I'm not employed at all for the next 5 years, how much money do I need to sustain myself? One. If I am employed, how much money do I want to sustain myself or to spend, and how much money do I want to save so that I can sustain for next X number of years? Because that is the buffer that you are creating to be able to take risks. As opposed to, you know why Americans, or in fact most of the developed countries, you know why they are creating Facebooks, LinkedIn's, or any really good solutions? They were not planning, they were not like really passionate about it, right? They are creating laptops, like operating systems, they are creating Windows, they are creating Macs, they are creating iPhones. We are not able to do that because we are not taking risks. We never thought that we can do that. We don't have that confidence. We don't want to take risks. Forget about that. If we don't get placed, people commit suicide. If we don't take placed, many of us should be happy actually that it's an opportunity for us to go and try out something unknown. It's an opportunity, but we don't treat it that way because we are insecure. And why are we insecure? Because we are financially illiterate. We don't know what we need. We think you need 12 lakhs because your friend is getting 12 lakhs. But I assure you, you don't need 12 lakhs. In India, you don't definitely need 12 lakhs. You can sustain yourself in 1 lakh easily, minimalistically speaking. So, but we compare ourselves with others. He is a servant of somebody. He is doing something, he doesn't know if it aligns with his life goals or not. Just because he's earning a little bit money, we are comparing ourselves with them and becoming insecure. Even though without money, we are actually doing what we are going to do for the rest of our lives. And I promise you that if you do something, if you persist at something forget 20 years, for 5 years, you will be one of the leaders in the country. All that you need to do is persist on that for at least 5 to 10 years. Forget about money. You must love that. You must persist at that without worrying about failure or success, right? And take that risk. It's not a risk at all. We think it's a risk because we compare ourselves to others, because we get insecure, because we are financially illiterate, right? And we will have dedicated sessions on each individual of these problems to exactly tell you how can you be financially literate, how much money you need, for example, in India to sustain yourself, to create a startup of your own, right? What should you be doing right now? Like, as you pass, do people tell you to do a few things? Start saving this amount of money. You will be secure. You don't need a lot of money, let me tell you. Somebody who earns 20 lakhs but doesn't save anything, who buys a car and gets into a loan, is more financially illiterate than somebody who is earning only 30,000 but saving 15,000 of that, right? Are you taking health insurance? Do you have a good mentor who is guiding you financially? These are important things. We will discuss them in details, right? And last but not the least, I think this is second last. Yeah, this is actually the last. Okay, we don't have a grand vision for ourselves. So today, in the beginning of the session, right, all of you told me something that you wanted to do in your life. Now I want you to do one thing. Go back and ask yourself this question. Is that grand enough? Is it affecting at least 10,000 people? Is it helping at least 10,000 people? If not, then then it's not grand enough. You need to make it grand enough. You can't say that I will become an IAS officer. That's not a goal. A goal is I will become an IAS officer. Through that, I will do these specific things. I will help these many thousands of people, right? Just like for myself, I have committed that I will help thousands of students to achieve their true potential, to do whatever they want to do in the best possible way, right? So you need to set a really grand vision for yourself, right? So the last, so these were all the problems that all of us, many of us are suffering from, right? So this is one rule that I'll give you at the as a last parting suggestion. I'll give you this rule. Don't, so follow this rule. Anything that you decide, right? First ask yourself, why are you doing it? Then ask yourself, what exactly do you want to do there? And only then go and ask yourself, how will you do that? We will, in fact, this is the topic of our next session. We will go into this into a great detail, but just think what we do now. We do the exact opposite. We first learn coding. That is the how part. We first answer how. We first learn coding without knowing what are we going to do with that, without knowing why are we learning coding. We first just go and learn coding. After learning coding, after answering how, then we go to what? Then we say, okay, I now learn coding. Will you please give me some consultancy role? Or will you please give me some IT role? Will you give me some insurance role? What will you give me? Whatever you will give me, I'll do that. We first learn the how, then we do the what, and most of us never get to why. Why I learned coding, why I am doing this specific CRM software. Most of us don't even ever reach to why. So reverse the trend. First ask yourself, why are you doing what you are doing? How does that align with your grand vision? Then ask yourself, what exactly do you want to do? Because why will be common for many of you, but what should be different? The same why can be answered in a what different way, right? And last should be how. And how will keep changing, keep evolving, right? Once you decide, let's say for me, why is I want to maximize the potential of Indian student community. That's my why. That's how I see that I'll contribute to my country, right? What is, as of now, I think the what will be by mentoring a large number of students. That's my what. How? Currently, I think by sharing my knowledge for free among a lot of students. That's my how. But maybe my how will change in a couple of years. Who knows, right? But figure that why first before going to what and how, right? So that is what exactly our next session is going to be. But before we end our session, I just wanted to go and answer Supriya's question, which I had missed. Students are not emphasized upon certain things, like how to give proper guidance, how to seriously train individuals, how to recognize the talent. You're right, Supriya. I totally agree with you. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So at this point, I think we are at the end of the session. Thank you for joining. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn if you have any question. Feel free to reach out to me on that, right? So next session, we will focus on, we discussed a lot of problems today. What are some broad strategies to solve some of those problems? And in subsequent sessions, we will focus on some of the deep technical topics, like I said, which I'm passionate about, but also some of the deep drill down on some of the individual topics that we discussed today, like how exactly can you achieve financial literacy? How exactly should you plan if you are targeting for a startup? How exactly should you study? For example, do we study well? I'll tell you what I did. I'm sure all of you do that. While you are, let's say the course is computer networks. There is this big thick book that we pick up for computer networks. At the beginning of our course is only 40 hours, but we think that we will finish the whole book. But at the last day of the exam, we will just focus on the notes, on what was taught in the course. Do you see how inefficient that method is? On the other hand, if at the very beginning of the session, you would have exactly selected that portion of the book, that thick book, you first recognize that I don't have to finish that whole book. Then figure out, go ask your teacher, what are the specific parts of the book that you are going to teach me, tell me right now at the beginning, so that you know that throughout these 40 hours, you are only going to read these 150 pages. Then throughout the semester, you focus only on those 150 pages. I am sure that you will do much, much better because you are focusing on what you are going to achieve, on the objective of doing well only in those 150 pages, right? Because let's accept it, you are anyway not going to cover the other part, right? Just an example, how you can maximize your effort, right? So we will have detailed discussions around these strategies. How should you operate in a very efficient way? So with that, I will close. Any questions or quick comments, feel free to type in the chat box. But otherwise, we are done with the session today. Thank you for attending, and we'll love to have you guys, and call your friends also to these sessions, because let's make it a discussion session, make it a long-term session. We don't want to hear something here, go back and forget it. We want to keep coming back to the exact same concepts, keep ruminating, keep practicing, so that we actually get it into practice. Okay? Shaunak is saying, will there be a session around financial decisions we should be making when we start in earning? Definitely, definitely. And at the same time, if you have a session, if you have a suggestion for me to have a session, right, I will love to host, not a problem. Because my intent is to make you guys able to achieve, to get to your maximum potential, right? Like savings, how you should save, how much is enough for you, how should you not compare yourself with anybody else during placement, how should you be extremely confident about what you want to do in life, right? Super important. Don't focus on that initial amount. I'm getting 12 lakhs, he's getting 15 lakhs, he's better than me. I promise you he's not. If you are getting zero, like this guy, right? Steve Jobs. He left college, started something in his garage, and then he was so confident and came to India actually in the middle. So if you are confident, right, you will not worry about money at all. You will figure something out. But you need that confidence. Most of us don't have that confidence today. Our students, most of the students, they don't have that confidence. They're very insecure. They think that placement, somebody needs to give me some employment, only then I will do something in life. Otherwise I can't, right? Then Shaunak is saying, ways to monetize your skills, very important, very, very important. Monetize, in fact, equally important. You have to find a skill. Why, right? Why part is you need to identify your skill. Let's say I love painting, right? But as a painter, in fact, I'll tell you my life story. I love painting, by the way. I have had my own painting exhibitions also. But you know what I realized? Painting doesn't work today. Nobody goes to good painting exhibitions. Paintings don't sell also, unless you are a really renowned painter. But graphics works. If you are really creative, go design games. Game design works. Go design animations. Animations work, right? So you have to figure out, if I am creative, if I'm an artist, what is the best possible way to market that also, right? You need to be clever that way also. How do you monetize that skill? Thank you, Shaunak, for pointing that out. You need to be clever. How do you monetize your skill? Because if you are dumb at monetizing your skill is going to the dustbin, right? Right, and we should have a focus session on this also. How can you plan and monetize your skill? Very important. Also, what are skills we require in the various fields to be competent enough to stand out? Exactly. So you need to understand the industry. Let's say you want to go into movies, right? Should you simply go travel to Bombay and go knocking doors, hey, can you give me roles? No. Understand the industry. Do case studies of various actors who have struggled. Learn from their mistakes, right? And then be confident in what you want to pursue, right? Aditi is saying thank you, Aditi. Shaunak is saying, Shaunak, okay, I'm mispronouncing Shaunak's name. It's not really Shaunak, it's Shankhanil. Oh, okay, Shankhanil. Okay, thank you, Shankhanil, for correcting me, and I apologize for getting your name wrong. Okay, I know it's a grave mistake to pronounce somebody's name wrong. So definitely, really sorry for that.